As an industry, we're slow to adapt.
That's one of my least favorite things when people say, oh, it's always been that way.
This is the program I'm comfortable with, so this is what I'm going to pass on.
There's still apprehension to fully go to that next level.
There's more opportunity today in technology integration with architecture than it's ever been in the past.
It's a major mind shift for the traditional architecture firm.
We're architects. We're skeptical of everything.
Architects are actually equipped to add value to a lot more things than you might imagine.
You'd be a fool not to see the future. I mean, you can see the future from here. You see exactly where all this is going.
What we see from these clients when we give them that first VR tour is just amazing. The virtual reality for us is a real big game changer. The visualization, the VR, all of it allows us to very quickly run through multiple design options and scenarios.
The more real we make these projects in the design phase, in our minds and in our computers, the higher quality we're getting out of everybody on the team.
We're able to work in the same model. We're able to communicate through the model. And when changes happen, it's more obvious to us that something would normally take 2 or 3 days. You just resolved it right off the bat.
Different schools have very different approaches to how they use technology in their educational process. I don't know that we've actually solved this problem in any way that represents an ultimate answer.
I would like to see a much greater concentration early on in a variety of different systems, because they all represent, in the end, a computing ecosystem that is representative of the real world out there.
That three-dimensional component has to be part of their core program, not just a class, in architecture schools and in preservation.
Anybody who's asking the question, is virtual design and BIM slowing us down, doesn't really understand the whole process yet.
Designing in 3D, so at the end of the design process, I've got my 3D building that can become my construction documents. That's vital. That's really what it's all about. That's a major advantage.
You'll have 40, 50 different subcontractors on one project. If you can start bringing them into the workflow also, there's just so many ways of increasing your efficiency. At the end of the day, if it doesn't help them, then what's the point of creating all this information?
Technology is my friend. It's allowed me as a very small firm of 4 people to compete with 20-person firms all day long, and we can knock them down. You never have to think, oh my gosh, can I handle this project? Oh yeah, you can completely handle this project.
We as architects are not risk takers.
Architects are horrible business people.
If we have to adapt to a change that we do not want to embrace, we are not going to do it.
Architects, like other people, are creatures of habit. Don't really want to be pushed to the next step.
No matter how inefficient it may be running, it's still running.
We've already committed to it. We're just going to keep doing it.
They're really not looking to continue to grow. They're looking to take their marbles and go to the house.
I've known this. I know it works. I'm not willing to give that up.
They're scared. Architects are scared of change. Fundamentally, it challenges the core of who you are as a designer and an architect.
If this doesn't go well, how do we get out safely?
Hundreds of thousands of people that have already gone through this process. You're not the first. You're not going to be the last.
To change from one software platform to another involves economics, involves training, all of which isn't architecture.
The way to capture the opportunity is to be open to the idea of change. We started looking ahead and thinking we're going to be the old guys that nobody wants to work for because we're behind the times.
If people will not change their mindset, then we cannot be successful. 6 months of work we can do in 2 days. So it's that big of a change that we're trying to achieve.
And that gap is getting greater and greater in between those that can and those that cannot. The quicker we become, the more that our clients want us to be quicker.
It is a little bit career changing. We underestimate that.
For somebody to be able to accept the unknown, to challenge themselves based on the new technology, it's a huge psychological aspect.
Every firm knows they need to take that next step once you get to a certain level. It's a game of hours, and it's a game of systems. There's always that fear of like, how is this going to happen?
It's just the unknown. There's a fog, there's a gray area beyond
that may not be clear to some people. But I think that once you've made your way through that fog and you see the resultant product that comes out of that, you get a much better product.
The owner's going to save money in changes, and everybody building it's going to save money. We're going to build it more efficiently.
What changes our core productivity? What makes us better at what we do? They're going to have to be using BIM. Otherwise, they just won't be in business.
All right, very good. Let me just switch over from that video here. 1 second. All right, hello everyone. We hope you enjoyed the pre-show, a look at our award-winning By Design series, which delves into the stories of our clients, the challenges they face, and the innovations which makes them thrive. Please check out all the By Design series videos just by visiting graphisoft.com, click on the By Design banner, or visit graphisoft.com/bydesign. Today we have another exciting panel discussion from leaders in the architectural arena. To make sure everyone can enjoy and participate in today's presentation, let's review the Zoom interface. At the top of the Zoom window, you will see an area to exit out or enter full screen mode. If you do encounter any audio troubles during the presentation, please click the audio setting button in the lower left corner. And finally, please open the chat panel by clicking the chat button at the bottom of the screen. This is where you may type in questions. Please note, it is an open chat visible to all attendees of this meeting. Please keep comments respectful, constructive, and relevant to today's topic. With that, let today's virtual roundtable begin. I will hand off to Suzanne Oldweiler, Major Accounts Manager, Sales Manager for Graphisoft North America.
Thank you, Nick. Hi, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Just a moment. Okay, 1 second. There we go. Nick, are you able to see my screen okay?
You're coming through.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Well, welcome, everyone. I am Suzanne Oldweiler, and let me see. There we go. I'll share my video with everyone. I'm Suzanne Oldweiler, and today we're going to be talking about creating great teams. And we've gathered another virtual roundtable. We host 4 of these a year, so 2 of them are online and 2 of them are in person. So we appreciate you guys for joining us today. I want to dive into our agenda. We're going to cover just a quick introductions of our panelists, and then we'll dive into a high-level industry overview. And then we'll get right to the panel. So we are going to have some time for Q&A at the end. So please make note of your questions, and we'll try to get to those as time allows. If for some reason we don't get to your question, please save it and contact us afterwards. We're more than happy to follow up with you. Without further ado, let me introduce our panelists today. First, we have Saravanan Bala from Orcott Winslow. And Saravanan is a principal and also education studio leader. Hi, Saravanan. Thank you for joining us. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your firm?
My audio on?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for that introduction, Suzanne. I'm an architect and education studio leader at Orcott Winslow. We're a national firm. We're headquartered in Phoenix. We have offices in Fort Worth and Texas, and we've been a user of Graphisoft ArchiCAD going back 30 plus years, and we're in the thick of the topic of today's discussion. So I'm happy to share all of those views with everybody else.
Great, thank you. And next we have Jeannie Bertolacini from Ortiz Melby Architects. Hi, Jeannie. And I know you're principal with the firm. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about Ortiz Melby?
Yeah, we're celebrating our 25th year here in Bakersfield. And we are enriching our communities doing education, healthcare, and commercial architecture.
Great, thank you and welcome. And lastly, we have Jonathan Miller, who is the owner, chief architect, and lead designer of Jonathan Miller Architecture and Design. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello.
What else would you like to tell us?
Well, we're a regional firm in Eastern Tennessee. Our office is in Knoxville, and we've been in business approximately 17 years. I'm a small architecture practice. We currently keep about 7 people busy here in various tasks, from architecture and so we are primarily specializing in residential, both high-end and really all things residential, from renovations to custom residential to even a little bit of speculative development with various clients.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us. I am going to really quickly give a kind of a overview for those who are joining us to kind of give a little context. So if you guys are in the audience who are joining, it's not uncommon to hear questions about talent. You know, how do I find great talent? How do I develop them and retain them? What are some effective strategies that are working? And sometimes we'll get questions like, I'm wondering if this is an ArchiCAD question, if I was using another software, would I still have this challenge? So I think it's important to note that, as NPR reported, the unemployment rate is nearly at a near 50-year low. You can see on the top right, that's the stat I pulled, I think as of Monday, for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So it's a challenge that I think every industry is having, but definitely our industry too. If we look at the DI Research recently did their 2019 Foresight study, and they asked leaders of firms their top 3 greatest challenges for 2019. And top of that list at 87%, the number 1 challenge was talent. So it's not uncommon across, a talent issue isn't uncommon across across our industry, regardless of, where you're located or what type of, work you do or what size your firm is. Looking ahead, I know Dell Tech does their annual architecture and engineering industry study. I think this year was their 40th year that they put that out. And they reported, firms are struggling to find talent and recruit qualified candidates, and they're working to improve the employee experience by focusing on the development of their existing top performers to increase retention with them. They also noted that the financial metrics increased across the board for firms, with the most impact being driven by talent management and staffing challenges. So we've heard from you guys, and we know that's an issue for a lot of folks. And so let's dive in and hear from our panelists. The first question that we have, we've got a group of 8 here. 8 questions. The first is, what has been your experience of these market conditions, and what are some of the specific talent challenges that you face in your firm? Saravanan, would you mind kicking us off?
Yeah, so just as we know, the entire nation is, we're in a boom cycle, and those of us who've done this for a while know that 8-9 years ago it was the reverse, right? So, and we're in a great position. We're doing a lot of great projects, but and as the national trends indicate, finding talent and training them and retaining them has been a bit of a challenge. And one of the, effects of the recession, 8 to 10 years, is we have a difficult time finding people in that experience range. So that could be a matter of people leaving the architecture field during the peak of the depth of the recession, I might add. So the reason, what that does is the people that we're able to find, there's been challenges with, highly inflated salary asks and multiple suitors. So we've had a bit of difficulty finding people in that range that fits within our culture, and and retaining them. So we've been using recruiters actually to good effect in the last couple of years to reach beyond our traditional networking methodologies to find talent. So competition is high, when you use a recruiter, or otherwise there's people looking at good people everywhere, and we have that same challenge with us. Recruiters actually reaching out to a lot of our employees. So it's a double-edged sword, but that's kind of what we've been using in the last couple of years to find talent.
Sorry, guys, I muted myself. Thank you for that. Jeannie, would you mind sharing with us your view in your firm?
Yeah, we struggle as well. We are, Bakersfield's located north of LA and quite a ways south from San Francisco. So we're not one of the big hubs that most graduates look to. So we struggle when we're looking for even new graduates, but just anybody. We're not a popular area, so we're really kind of trying to promote how affordable housing, how it's very affordable here in Bakersfield, to try to lure some of these experienced or graduates to our area. So we do have a community college that has a great architecture program, so we're able to grab students, while they're still in school, or graduates from there, and do a training process. But basically, we have to kind of hope that people are willing to relocate. Just some of our staff, our experienced staff, we end up losing to like government. So it's tough. We're struggling with the baby boomers and the new graduates. There's not very many people in that, Gen X area. So it's a tough one for us. We haven't had to go out to recruiters. Luckily, with our size firm, it's working for us for now. So it's, at this point, not too big an
issue. Thank you. Jonathan, what's your take?
Yeah, so we are in a university town. So we have the University of Tennessee here in Knoxville that has a great architecture program, and they've been a great resource for not only my firm, but firms that I worked for previously here in town. We're just now really beginning to, every summer, bring in an intern into our office and begin building a relationship with that intern to see, if they're excited about the work we're doing, the style of work we're doing, and then also to begin forging a relationship or a network for us in the future. You may hear me reference this a couple of times during our talk, but I really felt like it was important for our practice to have its own unique identity, its own unique design identity, our own way of kind of doing practice in architecture, and so I really wanted to focus on both recruiting and employee retention to make sure that the style of practice that we are is attractive to those people. So we're unashamed of kind of making that a clear design identity, a clear project type that we're excited about working on. And that's allowed us to recruit pretty effectively, even in a tight economy, because I found that people also are often in jobs maybe that they aren't too excited about. And when they're excited about the work we're doing, that allows us to begin, and it gives us an easy on-ramp and dialogue to recruiting them.
Great, thank you. Thank you all. We'll move on to the next question, which is, whoops, 1 second here. Right, 1 second, I'm gonna stop sharing and go back to resharing. I had a issue here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, back at it. It's so funny, technology, you can test the thing so many times and then you end up back there. So let me see, hang on. Move this back. I don't know, I apologize. Don't know how that, it went just fine and then all of a sudden it wasn't. Okay, let's see here. Can we get back and I will share my screen again. All right, back at it. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Coming through.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay, onward to question 2. When you're looking for designers with 8 to 15 years of experience, I know, Saravanan, you mentioned this a second ago, how do you promote available opportunities, and what strategies have you found to be most effective? And let's see, Jonathan, can you kick us off with that one?
Yes, thank you. So obviously this is a difficult window of experience to find, just due to the recession and so many people leaving the market, or that group of people. I was really fortunate I have 2 employees right now that fit into that window, and I was, from this question, thinking back, sort of how did they end up with us? And it goes back to, once again, our objective of having just a real clear identity in the type of design we were doing, the project type we were doing. So, and then also our affiliation with professional organizations. So in one of the employees' case, we were involved with the Institute of America. And through that connection, the employee saw on LinkedIn the advertisement for our position, and saw that affiliation, called me immediately, and we've had just a tremendous working relationship over the past really 5 years. The other gentleman came to us a little bit later. I interviewed him during the recession, and I didn't have a position for him. And then actually last year, we had an opportunity to bring him on.
Great, good. Thank you. Saravanan, can you go next?
Yeah, I guess I answered this question with the first one. But, yeah, like to Jonathan's point, you know, the recession did knock out quite a few people in that experience range. One of the things that we pride ourselves on, and there's a huge marketing opportunity, is just our culture. So, and it is not inconceivable somebody in the 8 to 15-year range that may not have had, you know, the whole gamut of the architectural experience. So our entire firm is built around that, and we actually leverage that as an incredible opportunity for people. And we've had a few people knock on our doors who've probably just been designers for several years. You know, they might even be licensed, but they've never quite been to a construction site. So we pride ourselves as a firm in providing a holistic experience to architects, and the people that start with us right out of school end up being much more well-rounded, and pretty much we like to joke that we like to train all the leaders around, you know, for the other larger firms in the Valley, and it's actually true. I'm sure some of them are logging in right now too. So, you know, we tout our culture in addition to, you know, the actual job responsibilities, and so we found that to be pretty effective.
Great. Jeannie?
Well, in terms of promoting the available opportunities, we've used LinkedIn a little bit, but the biggest thing is our social networks, where our firm is very active in American Institute of Architects, and we, you know, make a lot of connections that way. So it's not hard to find out that somebody's really not happy where they're at, and we're able to make a connection that way. But you know, we get past employees coming back and word of mouth, that kind of thing. But really talking to them about, you know, BIM and how we operate here in our firm is usually what brings them our way. But yeah, it's tough to promote when you don't have as big a city, you know, to people around you.
Right, great. The third question is, how do you differentiate your firm from others to attract new talent? How have you tailored the work environment and the compensation packages you offer to meet the needs of the modern workforce? And Jeannie, can you start us off with that one?
Well, of course, I'm going to say BIM. BIM is the biggest thing that we're able to differentiate ourselves. Here in our community, here in Bakersfield, we're the only firm that is using BIM. So we really have a tool there to leverage. And so we feel that it shows that we're looking ahead. We're looking at technology. You know, firms that are using 2D, they're just there to get the work done. But we're really trying to invest in technology and be smart about how we put our documents together. Another thing is our licensing reimbursement. package that we provide. So when it comes to the young people, we can really, not only do we pay for AIA membership, but we really encourage testing and getting licensed. And the package that we have, it's not just a straight reimbursement. They actually can, we want to keep them motivated in the testing process, and we know how, you know, because it takes a long time, you can lose interest. And so we've really developed something that, you know, they can actually make money if they keep testing. So that's something we're really proud of. But also the type of work we do, you know, we're doing big projects here. Our community college has some big projects going on, and we're a part of that. And, you know, that's enticing to people that are looking to do bigger and better things. And then our firm history. We've been around 25 years. You know, we're not a startup. We've got a transition plan. I'm the first of the transition. So we plan to be here another 25 years and longer. So we feel with all of that, we have a pretty good package that helps bring people to us.
Great, thank you. Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
Yes. Well, once again, I mean, I'm going to hang my hat on the fact that we are specializing in high-end residential architecture primarily. And so we've done a lot in terms of trying to put that out there into the market. We actually do some advertising and target media media publications in our market, places where we know our clients are going to be looking at. And I've also found that other architects see it and become familiar with our brand. They become familiar with kind of our style of work. I'm obviously looking for people that are passionate about wood frame construction, wood frame technologies, you know, high caliber of design. You know, we still do an awful lot of freehand drawing in our office combined with BIM. So our early phases, we're presenting still in a pretty loose manner, and then we're building up into a BIM three-dimensional presentation as we work through the project. And I've just found that typically the people that are coming to work for us, they really love being around that type of construction, that type of design, and that's been great. And then along with that, we're obviously vulnerable to a small office for a larger firm that maybe has better benefits, maybe more unique culture for people to leave a pretty small office and go to work for. And so with that in mind, I've really tried to stay ahead of the curve with paying above the market. I actually have a CFO consultant, it's a retired architect. He really helps me stay up on sort of what people are being paid in the market, what the benefit packages are. And then I've just really made sure that I'm keeping my employees ahead of that curve as much as possible. I'm not giving them that reason to leave our office. And we've had good success. And then the last thing is when we have an employee transition out, I really try to set it up to where if they want the ability to consult with us, if they're going on to do their own thing, or and that's often residential the case, they might leave to go start their own residential practice. I still leave that on-ramp for us to continue to consult. They're ArchiCAD users, and we've had really good success with our consulting relationships.
Great, thank you. Saravanan?
Yeah, so the core areas of our practice, what one would call almost life-giving practice, you know, we deal primarily with education, healthcare, and senior living, and that's a conscious choice. We do some projects that don't neatly fit into those categories, but primarily that's what moves us, and that's an attractor by itself. And the other thing I mentioned briefly is we're probably the largest mom and pop firm in the Southwest. You know, we're roughly 125 people nationally, and we still operate as though with a small firm mindset. You know, the client experience and taking care of the client from the beginning all the way to the end, and staying in touch when they don't have projects. So that's a big part of our attraction, that mindset inherently puts a lot of emphasis on somebody that's a self-starter, somebody that has a lot of integrity, somebody that can have a lot of empathy for you know, their clients as well as internally. And so we almost attract people that have those skill sets, and it makes us better as an overall firm. And we focus a lot on holistic employee development. the fact that we all end up doing every aspect of our project, and we're very collaborative as a firm. Which is actually quite reflective of the workforce that's being trained in academia right now. Is students tend to work collaboratively a lot more than when I went to school even 20 years ago. So all of those are attractors, and our compensation packages are tailored to reflect some of these, in terms of supporting our graduate hires to go through the AXP program and paying for the tests and giving them the time to study and take the exams, and also our seasoned employees, if they're pursuing a certain certification or any kind of a professional growth track, we're actually developing an overall framework to find gaps within our firm for growth that we can then market to people in the office to grow into those roles as leaders, or even outward. So it's sort of a multi-pronged approach to attract new talent and then keep them entertained, so to speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Our fourth question is around philosophies on finding talent, and what skills do you find a candidate must have, as well as what are the skills that you find that would be, that are really nice for them to have. Let's start with Jonathan.
Yeah. So once again, we are looking for candidates that are interested in our style of practice, and all of the. I found, I'm not sure the other panelists would feel about this, but our young talent is tremendous. I mean, we are getting some great young people that are coming in ready to work. Some of them have some experience already by the time they've graduated. That's very helpful for us. So I'm looking for somebody that can still communicate ideas with their hand, still be able to draw an idea out very quickly. I can train them in a lot of the construction technologies over time, in the BIM training. With a short amount of time, they can be up and running and very productive for us with a good amount of oversight and training and care. So I'm looking for good people skills. I'm looking for design talent, and just a passion to learn our style of design and our style of doing business.
Great, thank you. Saravanan, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, can you guys hear me? Yeah. So fundamentally, fit is absolutely important to us. So that's the first thing I personally look, and I'm sure other people that hire for my firm do the same thing. Having a growth mindset, having the integrity to take on responsibilities and not cut corners and take care of our clients. Those are all, I guess, soft skills. They're not hard skills like software skills, tools, so to speak. So fit and having fitting in the culture. We're a very flat firm. We do have some hierarchies, but they're pretty soft hierarchies. Everybody is an open book. We're a very transparent firm, and it's almost a sink or swim mindset. People have to have a lot of integrity to be able to thrive in our system. So we look for that, having a team working mindset, and to be able to step into roles unfamiliar to them and find the resources to make those roles theirs. So it's a lot of soft skills emphasis, and we don't necessarily look for a specific software skill, though we're finding a lot of broad spectrum of experiences, software experiences now, and because we have a pretty solid onboarding program that we're continuing to evolve, if we can find somebody that is smart, motivated, rigorous, empathetic, and a team worker, we can train anybody. So that's kind of the mindset we usually have. And it would be great if somebody knows to play ping pong, because we're a big ping pong office. So I don't actually play ping pong, but we have a lot of ping pong. It'd be nice to have.
Thank you. Jeannie?
Yeah, first off, we're looking for people who are excited about architecture. That's the first thing. You know, they want to grow, they want to learn, and they want to be part of a team. But just like Sarah said, it's about the fit. We're looking for somebody who fits, and we always use the term, you know, is it somebody that you want to sit next to on the bus? You know, because it can be a long ride. But yeah, it's the fit. At the software skills, I mean, the nice to have would be if they had some BIM experience, but really all of that's teachable. And same thing, you know, the young people pick it up so quick, and the kids that we get from school mostly have Revit experience. They all pick up ArchiCAD really easy. So that comes sort of last. I mean, of course, knowledge and experience is definitely a plus, but where we're getting from community college level, you know, we got to teach that. So they've got to be teachable. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Our fifth question is, once you've hired a new person, what processes are in place for onboarding and quickly assigning a new hire to billable projects? And Jeannie, can you start us off with that one?
Yeah, so a few years ago, we started a new employee training file. So we created a project that was just to train employees on. And so with every new hire, we went through a period where we had a few of them. We created a process. So our BIM committee has a checklist of everything that we want to review one-on-one with them. So we start off in the conference room and we go over maybe, you know, 2 hours of items, and then we introduce them to the ArchiCAD employee training file. And basically it's a way to get them to learn and not be on a billable project, you know, because you don't want to build a client for them learning how to use the program. So we do about a week or two. Usually it's about 2 weeks of each day going in and doing a little bit of one-on-one training, getting through our checklist, and then giving them time to go back and draw and recreate. We set them down with a hard copy set of plans, and they have to recreate that. And it has a little bit of everything, you know, adding a roof and walls and doors and windows, and of course keynoting and legends and schedules. And so it gives them just a little bit of all the things that you know they're going to need to do when they get on a billable project. So, and then when they're through that, we sit down and we go through it with them and kind of check the file, because sometimes, you know, everything looks great on hard copy, but you get in there and maybe layers are off or story settings are goofy. But so we like to go through the file with them, and then, you know, when they're all done and they're ready to be billable, we set them up with a project architect. So that's sort of our mentoring system. They're working underneath the project architect, and they're now billable, and we encourage them to ask the BIM committee for questions. Don't ask somebody else. We don't want them to learn the wrong way. So we really encourage them to reach out to one of the BIM committee members to ask questions while they're running.
Great. Okay, thank you. Jonathan?
Yeah, I will mainly touch just on BIM in terms of our onboarding. And we're pretty casual. We have an open studio type office. It's just a big room in a house that we all share. And there's about 4 to 5 of us that'll pack it in there at any given time. And so there's a lot of community conversation on the use of ArchiCAD. And within 2 weeks, we'll typically let that person obviously get acclimated, just get used to our environment, try to get them out to job sites quite a bit, client meetings, and then a whole lot of just stumbling through ArchiCAD in the first few weeks. And then I think with almost all of our employees in recent years, I've then had Lita with ArchiCAD, who's out of Atlanta. We will pay her to come up and spend a day with us and just do real intensive ArchiCAD training. And I found it to be pretty helpful for a person to struggle for a little bit, just kind of getting acclimated, learning the ropes, getting some of the basics down through conversation in office, maybe working on a project a little bit, who maybe have a whole lot of questions, and then we'll either send them to Atlanta, or Lita will come up here and let them just immerse themselves in a day of training. I wish we had the luxury of a BIM manager in our office, but ArchiCAD has been so supportive and wonderful, and that's been a great resource for us.
Thank you. Sarvanan?
Yes, so our onboarding process is actually currently being evolved, but we've had an onboarding process for a long time. It originally used to be primarily just ArchiCAD training, but at some point in the recent past, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, we've almost focused on using our first week of training to be more process-driven, meaning each day there's a focus on different phases of the project and how we introduce software, bring software to support the work that needs to get done in each of those phases. And specifically, ArchiCAD is primarily what we use, but we also use other software. So trying to figure out how each of those phases goals can be fulfilled using our software. That was kind of the framework of the initial training period. And what we also do is most new hires get assigned a couple of mentors, and depending on their age, skill level, the mentors are more or less, there could be a couple people in their skill level or age range. And also most projects are very collaborative. So there's always multiple skill sets represented, and that organic way of getting people trained seems to work for us. We do have gaps in that system, and we try to address that by trying to have sessions. We have a great BIM manager, most of you guys know Chuck, and he does informational emails that are very long. He can even beat me with long emails. But we have a lot of different ways of plugging those gaps. And in terms of assigning new hires to billable projects, I believe we have I think a 3-month window where we have people being new people that's coming on board be 50% chargeable. But what we also do is look for skills that they may have that they can be very successful implementing those. So a lot of people have Rhino skills, Grasshopper skills, SketchUp skills. So we look for opportunities where they feel they're getting their feet under them and they feel that they're integrating with the culture. So we try to find a balance. And within about 3 to 6 months, our experience is most people that are, if we've done our homework hiring the best people, we really find that they start flourishing within a few short months.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Our 6th question says, many firms are looking at ways that technology can improve their business operation, but they need a strategic technology plan to implement a new technology in a way that manages the cost, accelerates the learning curve, and clearly communicates the value of the transition to employees and clients. What type of implementation plan did your firm follow to effectively adopt a new technology? Saravanan, would you mind starting us off?
Sure. Yeah, so we've been pretty technology savvy for a long time, at least in the Valley. We moved from, drawing and implementing by hand directly into BIM before it was even BIM. So we've always been on the forefront of high technology. So, but that was when we were a lot smaller. Now we're a mid-sized firm. So we're a lot larger, there's a lot more influences. So we're trying to figure out a way to capture all great ideas. And we internally are organized as a bunch of committees. So we have a committee that's, mirroring the AIA in terms of technology and architectural practice, the AIA Knowledge Community, I should say. So we have a vision laid out for the next few years. There's a bunch of things we would like to do. So our process, in a nutshell, is to, again, tackle technology issues collaboratively. So we have implemented a software, like for instance, in my studio, we had a lot of Adobe products implemented, and piloting is a big deal. We try to see if we can pilot new software in smaller groups, see how effectively they use it, and is it really trying to, is it providing the bang that we expected with the implementation? So we've used certain software like PlanGrid's a good example. One studio uses PlanGrid very successfully. The other studios don't even miss it. So it's a mixed bag, but it works for us. And but the bottom line is we have a larger plan that allows for ideas to come into the committee for discussion, and we bring it up to the partners for consideration. And and if there is buy-in into a certain software, that just begins to get implemented.
Great, thank you. Jeannie, what are your thoughts on that?
So you're asking how we did follow effectively. So when we took on ArchiCAD, that was about 13 years ago. It was ArchiCAD 10. And we were using DataCAD as a firm at that time. And so the biggest thing was budgeting for this learning curve, because at that time we were about a firm of 50, so it was a bigger firm. So basically every new project that we started had to be done in ArchiCAD, but you know, we knew there was going to be a learning curve. So the biggest thing was budgeting. We also sent a group out to Orcutt Winslow to go see how they were using it and kind of learn a little bit about it, you know, using a template, that kind of thing. So we went and saw other firms to see how they're doing it and try to learn off that. And then we even reached out to Eric Bobrow, and he helped us put together a template. So it's an investment to make that change, but gosh, we're so happy now that we did it back then, because there's a lot of people trying to play catch up now. But since that time, like with Bluebeam, you know, and basically, you know, we probably could have had a better plan in place for Bluebeam. We all just kind of started using it and learning every day, you know, the importance and what it can do for us. But Enscape and Fuser were things that our BIM committee basically took on and started sampling with, and now we're using Twinmotion, figuring out which one's the right product for us. And once we kind of test it out with our BIM committee, then it's, okay, now whoever needs it can come to the BIM committee member and learn it. So we're, you know, ArchiCAD was the biggest thing, but yeah, we've got a long ways to go in how we keep bringing on new technology.
Right, right. And I can say the transition experience now for firms that are moving to ArchiCAD or growing with ArchiCAD is very different than you guys who paved the way earlier years ago. So thank you. Jonathan?
Yeah, so we've been using ArchiCAD since I started my firm 17 years ago, so we haven't had to go through the pain of transitioning a whole platform of CAD. I will say that the transition that I'm experiencing when new employees are coming on from being Revit or AutoCAD users, there's an initial frustration of making the change, but unanimously all of our employees have said what an improvement, how much they enjoy using ArchiCAD on a day in and day out basis. So that's really proven to be a nice quality of work environment components or practice. And then as far as technology, we don't necessarily have a strategic plan for implementing technologies, and that we're small enough we can kind of juggle experimenting with things. You know, we have some fails in there, we have some successes in there, whether it's a new app or a time tracking software. So much of our stuff now, like everyone, is all cloud-based time tracking, cloud-based servers, and it allows us to have employees and consultants really all over the country that we're able to tap into and use on a regular basis. So we just kind of roll with it a little bit as we see things come up. We'll give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, we don't have that big of an investment typically. I will say that we've also made a choice where we want to upgrade. We're on a subscription with ArchiCAD on all of our seats, but we made a choice to upgrade about every 2 years with the software. That's kind of a nice pace for us, where we don't have so much time into transitioning to an upgrade. Once again, we don't have a BIM manager, we don't have an in-house IT guy, so we're all just kind of processing those changes as we can.
Right.
Yeah.
So the ArchiPlus program that you guys are on, and then even though you have access to the latest version, you implement every other one.
That's correct. Yeah, for us, that's what we've done.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, our 7th question here says, what processes are in place or investments do you make to help a teammate grow at your firm? What best practices have you established in your firm to help track, manage, and support the development of a designer? Can you share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so like I said before, testing is really encouraged, and offering that reimbursement program really helps. So that's the best way we think we can grow our young people and the mentor system that we have. But also currently we do an annual career development discussion with each employee, and really trying to find out, you know, what are their goals and where do they see themselves and how can we help them get there. And so it's intended to be a discussion more than like a review. So it's really to help us help them. Another thing, I talked with a younger staff member recently, and graduated about 3 years ago, and she's talking with other friends that graduated at the same time, and she's doing way more than they're doing, because we don't really stifle, you know, keep our young people, you know, you're just going to draft details or you're just going to do bathrooms. You know, they get to experience all phases of the project, and you know, CA is a big thing. I feel like that's where they do a lot of learning, is during the construction administration part of a project. So getting out there on the site and learning about what it is that they're drawing, and having to respond to an RFI or an ASI, you know, so it's just learning all phases. They're not stuck at their desk drafting. And, you know, when it comes to the more experienced or more seasoned staff members, it's finding out again, how can we help them, and is it giving them a bigger project, or, you know, so really trying to just communicate and see how we can help them.
Great, thank you. Jonathan?
Yes, we as an office, I think probably our hallmark thing we do every year is we try to go to either the AIA convention or the Congress for New Urbanism, or the state convention or national convention. We've done the Home Builders Association, and it gives us a chance to travel together as an office, be together for several days, dine together, learn new things together. So we've tried to do that at least once a year, and then I try to always set up at least a quarterly sit down with each of my employees just to find out how they're doing. Is there anything I can be doing better? It's easy to miss. You know, as kind of the lead designer and owner of the company, it'll be easy for me to miss someone along that process if I'm not touching base with them regularly. So a yearly review is too far out for us. So I really try to meet with them and just talk about different passions they have, different interests they have within our sphere of practice, and try to connect them and get them to grow in whatever area they're really wanting to pursue during that time. So.
Thank you. Sarvana?
Yeah, so our office has implemented a 360 feedback program. Every employee establishes 3 goals. One is a personal goal, one is an expertise. We have expertise teams internally, an expertise goal, and the third one is an office-wide goal. We're big believers in ongoing feedback, and we have quarterly check-ins with all of our employees on how they're making progress towards those goals. And we also have, as part of the 360 feedback, a lot of other instant feedback tools that people can earn for doing a good job, standing out, or otherwise shining through in a situation. So the cumulative effect of all of that is sort of the annual review. But we also have a pretty strong project-based experience that we provide most of our employees, that they get a lot of career development pretty early on. And we obviously provide the support for them to pursue their AREs, and we emphasize that they get it done as fast as possible and try to provide them the resources to accomplish that. And also not just at that level, but also continuing professional development. I think I mentioned this earlier. There's several different people pursuing, for instance, the CSI certifications, people pursuing sustainability-based certifications. So we have an ongoing list of things that we try to provide support, and obviously balancing that with the office needs, making sure there's a good fit of somebody that's aspiring to be a leader. So a lot of these aspects do become an attractor too. So Trying to see if I forgot anything, but I think that's pretty much the nutshell what we do.
Okay, thank you all. And our last question, the Association for Women in Architecture and Design's 50/50 initiative is the program which asks industry leaders to commit to developing a 50/50 ratio of males to females within their firm structures, with the female ratio comprised of licensed architects, architectural graduates, and design professionals in allied fields of design. Have your firms established 50/50 goals? And if so, can you share more about the plan to achieve them? Jonathan, can you start us off?
Yeah, well, I wasn't aware of this plan or initiative, but we've kind of accidentally, I suppose, ended up being more female heavy in recent years, but I think we're leveling out right now with our current staff. And my daughter's actually a sophomore at UT Architecture. And what I'm seeing in the school is that I would say at least 50% of the school are females at the University of Tennessee. So that's a really bright thing for architecture. Obviously we're thrilled to have qualified career women that are here working for us right now. And I think one of our challenges obviously is really making sure that their home to work balance is really healthy. I think Sarvana, you mentioned that you'll have a program for maternity leave, and that's something that we're really in the process of trying to figure out. Okay, how do we put this out there in a real intentional manner to show our support for our female employees and make sure that they feel that, they experience that, and we can really retain them as productive employees. So,
thank you. Sarvanan, can you speak to Orcutt Winslow's view on this, in your view?
Yeah, I hadn't personally heard of this program either, but I did a little bit of digging. We're about 35% female as it is. In fact, it's interesting because just this week, the NCARB data on licensure, diversity, and attrition just came out this week. And, there's a big trend nationally, and to Jonathan's point, more than 50% of AXP registrants as of this year are women. In terms of gender equity, gender and diversity, 46% of new AXP candidates and 35% of new ARE candidates are minorities. So there's a larger trend in the architecture and design industry that we have started some conversations about that we may want to embrace, because this is the future of our workforce, to have policies in place that are attractors. And one of the things we've talked about is to have a policy about maternal and parental leave. That's something that we're starting to debate. So we're beginning to address the issues of gender equity and inclusivity as a firm, especially now that we're a national firm. It's going to be even more important that our workforce is going to be looking for opportunities and benefits in that arena. So that's kind of where we are specifically.
Okay, thank you. Jeannie, can you wrap us up?
Yeah, so we're currently 35% female. Being a smaller firm, one female leaves and it kind of throws the numbers off a little bit, but or bigger than a large firm, but we fluctuate. We've always tracked this information throughout our 25 years, and we go from 35 up to 45. So I don't know if it's our area, but we're pretty lucky to have a lot of women interested in architecture. We're now 33% female with our principals, so that's exciting for me. But yeah, I mean, our firm is out there talking to kids. We do a lot of career days, kindergarten through 12th grade, trying to encourage them to go to school for architecture. It sounds like we're doing our part on the girls, because like you guys are all saying, it's 50% in schools. It's sticking with them to get licensed. That's where we're losing them, and it's trying to figure out what's going to help them. And again, our reimbursement program here is how we're trying to do that. That's for both men and women, but to make it even profitable or able, you know, for single moms to be able to pay for the tests and get licensed. So yeah, I hope it is an initiative. I hadn't heard of it either. I think it's going to be tough to get there, just trying to get these women to stick with it and get licensed. So I think we've got a little ways to go, but there's, you know, a huge wave right now. I really do a lot of mentoring with young girls and trying to get them interested. So I think we're getting there.
Great. Thank you all. We're going to turn it over to Q&A. But before we do that, I want to take just a second and thank you all for your time and your feedback. It's really wonderful to get your perspectives as principals and leaders of your firms across the country and across this various size firm perspective and types of projects. It's really wonderful. Let's see, Nick, are you there? Can you field some questions for us?
I'll do my best. Let's see what we can do here. So everybody should be able to see the Zoom webinar chat window. If you don't see it, just click the little chat button at the bottom of the Zoom window. And you'll see there are some questions there already. We're going to go through those. But if you have any questions, we have a few minutes here. We are running out of time, so we'll try to do the best we can. Aubrey wrote, you know, what has been your experience in hiring older architects versus interns? So earlier we were talking about this in a little bit, but maybe what we're talking about is very seasoned or experienced architects. I don't know if anybody has any feedback on that. If you've either had good experiences with that or some difficult experiences, or if that's even something you have a demand for. What do you think?
Recently, we've been lucky enough to, I'm saying recently, maybe 3 years ago or so, we hired a more experienced staff from another firm. The firm was being bought out, and it was really sort of having that conversation with them and letting them know that we're bringing them in to really teach our younger people, and he's really done a great job of that. You know, he knows that, you know, he's going to retire in a few years, and so chances of promotion and that kind of thing are you know, not necessarily available, but his role is to teach, and, you know, he still leads projects, but real good about explaining everything to the younger people and making sure that they know why we do things. So I think it's been good when we can get them.
Yeah, I can state that we've had pretty good luck hiring, you know, people of all age and experience levels. And I go back to the original point I made is we look for fit. Fit is absolutely important to us. And if we're very clear about that, it doesn't really matter what age level or experience level you're hiring. And we need to have a clarity internally as to what that fit is and clearly articulate that to the person we're interviewing for a position, and make sure that they have an onboarding program that mirrors that, and there's continual feedback to make sure that's what the intention is actually being realized. So we've had pretty good luck, actually. I would say, you know, within the last 5 years, 2 of our hires are actually principals now. So it's not. I don't think it's a big deal really to hire somebody with an age advantage, let's call it. It's just a matter of trying to be intentional about it and have clarity on what their role is, expected role is, and stick to that.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, it's an interesting question. I can't recall that I've ever hired, when I'm just looking through the list of employees we've had over the years. I don't think I've hired anyone that's been older than me. I'm 51. And I'm not sure why that is. You know, I don't know if it's just that the opportunity hasn't presented itself, or the right candidate hasn't come along, being a small office. But I think also there's been maybe there has been a little bit of a leaning towards the younger generation that can process technology quickly and seem very nimble in the way that they can both learn and seem like they have that hunger to do that. It's not to say I wouldn't love to have somebody that would be beyond me and bring that level of experience into our office, but that has not, that's just not been something that has presented itself to us as a firm.
Okay, very good. I think I'll just put this one up just because it's a quick one, is the time tracking question. Jonathan, you already answered that in the chat. Thank you very much. I think that that's just showing that desire to understand, what are the nuts and bolts of the day-to-day operations and, how you all progress. So I don't know if anybody else has any comment on that, on actually the nuts and bolts of what you do on a day-to-day basis to, track employees and make sure that the jobs come out on budget and on schedule. Anything from Jeannie or Sarvana?
Well, our time is tracked in our internal project management software, and we can run all kinds of metrics through that, and it helps us model future project proposals and such. But it's more an art than a science. I'll just put it that way. So you can't simply rely on the numbers. You got to look at a whole host of features. And if this question is specifically about getting new talent and getting them on board, and so we always, I personally look for magic dust. So at the end of the day, if somebody that we're hiring and bringing on board is fully on board with what we're trying to do, and there's a perfect fit, everything else is data, So there's, as designers and architects, we do a lot of things through just emotion and heart, and sometimes we tend to forget that. And if there is a perfect fit, then the data takes care of itself. That's been my experience.
Very good. Now,
I'll just say really quick, we're looking into different systems right now for project tracking. We've been more of the artistic way in the task, and sort of like you go over on one and maybe you go under on another and hope that it sort of evens out, and it's been doing what it should be. But we're trying to find programs. We're looking at Deltek actually right now to do some real project tracking and how we can sort of be alerted when we're reaching 50% or 70% of the project. So, working on it.
excellent. Thank you. We've reached the hour, so I'm going to hand this back over to Suzanne for some closing words.
Yeah.
So, Suzanne?
So a couple of things. One, if we weren't able to get to your question, please just put it in the chat, and we will make sure that we circle back with you on that. So thank you. A couple of things I want to bring to everyone's attention while I have the ArchiCAD community gathered. One, there is a 0% financing offer on ArchiCAD for 12 months. So for those of you who are hiring and growing, we do have that offer available through August 31st. Secondly, in continuing this discussion of talent and specifically around addressing the topic of employee retention and learning, we do have a new webinar that will be coming out. It will be on demand, so that means you'll get an email about it, or you can visit it on our blog once it's up. Click it and watch at a time that's good for you. So more on that shortly. And then lastly, our next roundtable event is going to be an in-person event on Thursday, November 7th. It's going to be hosted by Gaheber Lewis Associates in Atlanta. We would be delighted to have all of you come visit us in the South. So looking forward to that. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. There's the Sales at Graphisoft email up there, or find us on LinkedIn, call the Graphisoft number, shoot me an email, whatever works for you. But we appreciate your time. We know this has been a big topic of interest. And again, thank you to our panelists for your time and your feedback. We really appreciate your contributions. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, thanks. Bye, everyone. And I'm sure we'll talk to you before then, but we'll definitely look forward to seeing you all in Atlanta in November. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.